Okay. Let's get to it.
Let's
get to it. Cock-a-poopy.
All right, ready? All right, here we go. You ready, Haven?
I'm fucking ready.
And this is Gatriarchs. So we got to get away last week on spring break.
Ooh.
And we spent money that we didn't have,
Okay.
but, you know, that is the American way.
Yep.
And we were at an all-inclusive hotel. And I just walked around lecturing my kids about how we were exploiting the people and the environment the entire time. And my 11-year-old actually turns to me and she's like, Dad,
grab. My God.
you chose this vacation for us. And I was like, I know, but we don't have to like it.
Wow.
And there we are, like, heaps of food, of course. And my kids are still just eating pancakes and bacon the entire time. Now, I know, going into this, I was like, one of the reasons I chose this was I didn't feel like choosing battles. Or I didn't feel like having battles. And I'm like, you can eat whatever the hell you want. You can eat ice cream all day long. That's all I care about. Except for the fact that I still want you to have, like, regular bowel movements. And I want you to be able to eat a fucking vegetable, right? And there we are, though, still having food battles with my middle schooler, where I'm like, don't you want to live a little? Don't you want to eat something different besides pancakes and bacon? But why would anybody want to eat pancakes and bacon? But then she said to me, Dad, this is like the middle school. If I don't want to eat what they have, like fish sticks and salad, we have options. I'm like, oh, interesting that you have. What are the other options? Hamburgers, chicken nuggets, and pizza.
Yeah, always.
I'm like, how am I supposed to teach my kids any good eating habits when their default at the school is hamburgers, chicken nuggets, and pizza? I love hamburgers, cheeseburgers, chicken nuggets, and pizza like the next guy. But I also know that we cannot live on that. And that's the problem with our entire country, is that that's all we eat. And we don't teach our kids any actual eating habits.
Listen, this is my problem with daycare, too. As I've said many, many times. Like, I am constantly putting good food in the daycare. And every day he's like, I had 6 chocolate donuts today because it was Stevie's birthday. I was like, fuck Stevie. Fuck Stevie and their birthday.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's so, and we are so preoccupied with raising good eaters, and when you go to all the top 10 lists of how you raise a good eater, then ultimately our entire society is against us actually raising good eaters. And it is infuriating because, I mean, we adults are, as Americans, we're pretty bad eaters as it is, and it's an uphill battle, but I'm going to keep waging it, let me tell you what. Along those lines, then it does remind me of all of the top 10 ways. I mean, I wrote them when I was blogging a few years ago, talking about the top 10 ways to, like, raise good eaters and whatnot. And I did have some pretty good successes. And in the grand scheme of things, we don't have tears at the table unless I put fish on the table. And then my kids have decided that they don't like fish, even though they used to eat it. But I am so tired. I wonder if we're getting out of the era of top 10 ways to do this, that, and the other. I mean,
Gavin, you realize that we have a top 3 list on this podcast, right? Like, we are part of the problem.
It's not advice, kind of.
Yeah,
You're right.
If anybody's listening to this podcast for advice, I'm so sorry. Please don't.
We are nothing but hypocrites.
No. Hypocrites and liars and disgusting.
Yeah. That's what it is. But, you know, it is exasperating that we try to get all of the information as quickly as we can, and all of the latest research and whatnot that is always in top 10 form. And it's the only way we have any attention span to be able to absorb anything. But it is exhausting because parenting, every generation of parents, meaning like every 2 years, we have a new batch of new people giving new advice. And there's got to be a stop to that.
But isn't the point that, like, I don't have time to spend a week reading this book? And even these top 10 articles you're talking about, do you ever read anything under the bold? No. The bold is number 1, feed them grapes. And then if my brain goes, I don't want to do that, I just move on to the next thing. And maybe I'll read the next thing. But, like, it's like recipes. It's like, just fucking tell me the things. But I think it's time, right? And also people are in the, like, why won't my kid go to bed? Just give me the 10 reasons that I can try really quick. I don't have time to read a whole book.
I agree. So I'm introducing this segment, like panning it, but at the same time, it is frustrating because that's all we can do. But, you know, I think I've probably already mentioned the only book that I think anybody needs to read, honestly, as a parent, is Bringing Up Bebe. and it is about how the French parenting is an awful lot of like kids should be seen and never heard, and they don't actually engage with their kids quite as much as we do. But they're also like limits. Just draw these limits, boom, done. And there isn't any. It's very simple. But it's very hard, and you have to stay consistent.
But that's the hard part, right? Is that like at like night 57 of crying because I want chicken nuggets for breakfast. At some point, any adult fucking breaks. It's just not possible.
But in that book, the French are like, oh no, we lock them in their room and we take a sleeping pill, and everything's fine the next day.
God, and you know what? The French, there's a lot to unpack there.
There is.
It's just taking sleep.
There is.
Wait, can I tell you? Did I ever tell this story where I have a friend who is born and raised in Sweden, and then she came here when she was a young child, and she was telling us about how. Did I tell the story already? How when she was a kid, they lived in like an apartment building where there's like a big courtyard in the middle, and she's like, when I was crying all night, my mom would put me in like a stroller and wheel me out to the courtyard, and then go back upstairs and go to sleep and leave me outside. And she's like, it's common for people to leave their kids outside while they go in. And I was like, that's not true. And then I went to Iceland that year, and I went and we were walking down the street, and there was this big cafe where people were having dinner, and there was like 6 fucking strollers outside. And my first thought was like, oh, it's funny because like Emma was talking about that, but that's not really real. I walk up, there are babies in those strollers. They full on were like, I'm gonna go have a dinner, baby, I'm just gonna leave you outside in a stroller. But like, it's clearly a cultural thing where like everyone's fine and we're good, but it like it blew my mind. I was like, people fucking just leave their babies outside.
Genius.
Free babies in Iceland for those who are listening. So I had this experience that I hope I can teach myself from it, where we were, it was raining outside, and I like to open the sliding door and like us just sit by the door and like watch the rain come outside because I'm obsessed with rain. And my son was like, I want to walk out there. And my first thought was like, no, stop, no, just stay in here. Because I was like, you're gonna get wet, I'm gonna have to change your clothes and blah, blah, blah. And he kept saying, but I want to go out there. And I just had this moment when, David, let him go. In the fucking rain. Because I thought about myself as a kid. I was like, I would want to go outside on the deck and just like stomp around in the rain and have it rain on me. And I just had this moment of like, let your kid just get messy. And I think it really is not that big a deal to me, but my brain just kept saying, can we just keep it under control so I don't have to do this? And I'm so glad I allowed myself to just break myself from this, like these binds that I give myself where I'm trying to keep everything easy. But I was like, let this little moment of small magic come into this child's life. So I'm going to try to get better at that whenever they ask for something that would inconvenience me slightly, that I think about like, would this be enjoyable and maybe magical for them, and allow that to happen.
It's a universal metaphor that we all need to be able to let our kids jump in puddles. Because in the grand scheme of things, maybe if you're setting out and you're going to spend 4 hours out walking around, yes, you probably don't want to get wet at the very beginning. But it's a perfect metaphor that we all need to be able to jump in more puddles now. Absolutely.
So this week's, our top 3 is my list, and it was my top 3 favorite quotes. No, they don't have to be parenting. They're just quotes that kind of live rent-free in your head. So I will start. So in number 3 for me is a quote from the Three Musketeers, and it's, "You'll soon learn, D'Artagnan, that life isn't so black and white." And I don't know what about this stuck with me, but just the idea of like, everything in life is so much more complicated and textured than you think. There is just nothing black and white in life, except the literal colors. So that's my third favorite quote. Number 2, now this is a really long one, and I will read it, but it for whatever reason lived in my head. It's from Roseanne. Yes, Roseanne, the TV show. Now, yes, I get she's problematic. Let's just ignore all of that. This was my favorite sitcom going up. And the idea is that their goal as parents was to improve the lives of their children by 50% over their own. And that has stuck with me, and I think about that quote every day. I'm going to read the full quote because I think it's beautiful. This is from the last episode of the show, and it is this. "Dan and I always felt that it was our responsibility as parents to improve the lives of our children by 50% over our own. And we did. We didn't hit our children as we were hit. We didn't demand their unquestioning silence. We didn't teach our daughters to sacrifice more than our sons. As a modern wife, I walked a tightrope between tradition and progress, and usually I failed, by one outsider's standards or another. But I figured out that neither winning nor losing count for women like they do for men. We women are the ones who transform everything we touch, and nothing on earth is higher than that. And so I just love that quote.
That's great.
It is one of the best last episodes of any show I've ever watched, and that is a quote from it. So that's number 2. Number 1, my favorite quote, I think about it easily every day, is from my friend Liz, who I don't know if she listens to the podcast. I went to college with her, very good friend. And I came to her house one day, and her and her roommates had ordered pizza. And when I got there, the pizza had also got there, and she paid for it. And my first question was like, well, are you going to get, your roommate's portion of the pizza money? And her quote was, or the thing she said to me was, David, sometimes you just pay for the pizza. And the thought of just like, yeah, instead of nickel and diming, sometimes you just are generous. Sometimes you just buy it and you don't ask anybody for anything and you just do it. And I try to, this sounds so silly, but I try to build my life on that, of the idea of like the kind, good things you do, or the things that you can easily do, you just do. You don't ask anybody's permission. You don't ask for it back. You just pay for the pizza. So number 1, sometimes you just pay for the pizza.
I love that. That's well done. Okay, so I'm so glad that you brought sincerity to this. And
I keep slipping into that trap. I need
that
to
you don't just get to be the funny guy this time, because basically mine are sincere too, basically.
Right.
But the things that pop out in my mind for sure are, I'm sorry, I'm going to make it a top 3.5 on the for number 3.5. Al Franken has this fantastic quote about politics, and he says, Republicans love their country the way 4-year-olds love their parents. Democrats love their country the way adults love their parents.
Beautiful.
And I think that is a great way of saying we have to accept the flaws and the warts and the yelling and the screaming and still love our parents. And that's a mature way of looking at it.
Yeah,
So
love it.
I love that one. I was lucky enough to work with Mike Nichols, the famed director who probably nobody on this podcast knows. But he was a really famous movie director and Broadway director, and he directed me in Spam-A-Lot. Not that I was a replacement, so whatever. He didn't know who I was. But I love that he said, my number 2 quote is, there are only 3 kinds of scenes: seductions, fights, and negotiations. And he had a very direct, simple way of directing actors. And it was enough of the backstory, enough of this, that, and the other. Just like, keep it simple. Mm-hmm. It's a seduction, it's a fight, or a negotiation. Boom, move on. Of course, I love my favorite tweet of all time. Number 1 is some person who said, and I'm sure it was a younger person who didn't have kids, said, parenting looks so hard. You have to traumatize your kids just enough to make sure they're funny. I think that is so true.
We talked about that in episode 1, I remember, with Craig.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know. I'm bringing that up. And then my half favorite here is just that, and it's not a quote. I'm diverting just in the sense of, and it's sort of a something great, but don't worry, it's not my something great. In my notes, I keep a running list of funny quotes that my kids say, and you can see it goes back to 2015. Wow. And I have quotes after quote after quote. And occasionally we go back and read them. And it's fucking hilarious. So that is my quote, is not a quote, but just something we do to keep quotes. Because it is so worth the effort of pulling out your phone, neglecting your kid for a little while, writing down something funny, and you'll be able to revisit it later.
Gavin Lodge, neglecting his kid since 2016. All right, so our next guest is one of the few women I have seen naked on multiple occasions. She is a Broadway performer. She is a voice actress. She is a mom. She's an artist. And she is known for having one of the best voices on Broadway. I am lucky to call her one of my best friends and by far the greatest escape room partner one could ever have. Please welcome Haven Burton. Hi, Haven.
I'm literally speechless from that last statement. That made my day.
So those of you who don't know, I am an escape room addict. I don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's calling on like the boy adventure-y part of it. I don't know what it is, but something about escape rooms makes me happier than a lot of things. And Haven and I and her husband Denny have all we just all fell in love with escape. We all love each other, but we fell in love with escape rooms together. So we are like this incredible team, and we do them all the time. And we have a 100% success rate.
We sure do.
We sure do. Welcome, Haven. I would like everyone out there who is not watching this via video feed to know that your name is Kaka Poopy at the bottom of the screen.
Kaka
Why
Poopy.
is that?
Well, it's just the way I was feeling this morning, you know? I tried.
Not even going to blame it on your kids.
Not even blaming it on my kids. Although I was having doomsday fears this morning when I wake up. You know, typical, like, you know, is the world ending anxiety in the morning, as we all do. And Caspian, my middle child, had crawled into bed with us. It's like it's our thing right now. Like, he sleeps with us, comes in at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and then snuggles. He's very sweet. He woke up this morning also with doomsday fears.
Oh no.
Asking me about the zombie apocalypse and would we be okay? And then my first reaction was, yeah. Mine and Denny's reaction was like, yeah, we're fine. We have like a crank radio. We're good.
We have a Costco box of Band-Aids. We're okay. We got it,
We're
guys.
gonna
Also,
be fine.
we've watched The
Not
Last
the
of
first
Us.
rational.
I've watched The Last of Us, so I know what to do now.
And Walking Dead,
That's
I know
right.
what to do. I know how to pillage for
We know what to do.
antibiotics. Yeah,
What is your zombie apocalypse plan?
I'm gonna go right towards the first zombie and let him bite me. What is the negative to being a zombie? You are amongst friends. You live forever. You don't have to worry about anything. You look skinnier than you've ever looked in your entire life.
That's true.
You look so cute and close. I would walk right up to the first zombie and be like, come at me. Bro.
Also, talk
Let's
about
do
like
this.
not giving a fuck. I mean, wouldn't that be great to be unhinged? You would be unhampered.
Your mortgage payments disappear in a moment.
So many worries are just gone, and you do basically live forever, like you said, looking as your best self. I mean,
Literally, I don't
Skin
know what I don't.
peels, the whole thing.
Okay, so before we get into the obvious parenting part of this, which is what you're here for, other than just for us to kiki, I want to give you everyone out there, a little backstory who doesn't know Haven, which is impossible. Everyone knows who Haven Burton is. But if you don't, Haven was and is a Broadway performer, and that's how we all know her. You made your Broadway debut in Rent, correct?
I did.
oh my god,
That is a big deal for people our age and our post late mid to 30s. Rent was it.
Yeah.
Rent was it, and you played Maureen, correct?
I did like I made my debut as Mrs. Cohen and then went under contract for Maureen for, you know, multiple periods of time.
Amazing.
I mean, what a dream show and a dream
It was
what
really
that like?
fun. It was really great. I mean, my professional debut was the national tour of Rent. So I was on the second national tour of Rent, which in 1999 was also really, really huge
No doubt.
because it was like, I thought about that the other day. I was like, wow, I had no idea like how big of a tour, like how big of a deal it was to be on the Rent tour.
Yeah.
And I was a hot mess when I was a kid because I was 19 and no one was like, hey,
When you were a kid?
Yeah. Well, always. I'm always a mess.
But it's true. Being 19, you're starring in a show. You're on national tour.
In a rock musical, the hottest ticket in the world.
This is sex, drugs, and in Des Moines. And wow.
Sex and Drugs in Des Moines. That's the name of your autobiography.
We were in Des Moines. No, I think that I actually started in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh god.
I think that was my first
Beautiful city.
I think that was my first city.
But like Rent was a big deal to the world. But let's
Yeah.
be honest, your biggest credit for Gavin and I
Absolutely.
is Legally Blonde,
100%.
the musical. And if anyone has listened to this
100%.
show for more than an episode, they know that it is by far near and dear to our hearts. So
near and dear.
You were Margot, correct? You came in
Which
as
one's
Margot,
Margot?
and you understudied Elle.
I pretend to love it. I do love it, but I
Annalie.
don't know.
Bruiser.
Which one is Margot?
Yeah. Annalie
Oh,
Ashford.
okay.
She starts the show.
Yeah.
Dear
Gosh.
Elle, he's a lucky guy. I'm like gonna cry.
Nice.
I've got tears coming out of my nose.
Oh god,
Yeah,
I
that
love
one.
it.
Oh, and
So funny.
and there is a sneaky video of you on YouTube doing various parts of when you would go on, and it is so amazing.
I'm watching it now.
And I'm so obsessed with it. I'm so mad at myself that I can't build a time machine and go back to when you would go on as Elle and watch it, because I was such a fan, but I was not as much of a fan then as I am now. Like going back, I'm like, oh yeah, this show was fucking amazing.
Yep.
You know what? I feel the same way. Like when I joined the show, I was like, oh, it's like a big pink musical. It's Legally Blonde. Like I didn't take it that seriously either, you know? And then I went to go see it when I booked it, and I was like, oh, this is really fun. This is really, really, really fun. And then I was doing it, and I was like, I have no idea how to do this kind of musical theater, because I was not a musical theater kid. I'd never done a musical before. I did like rock, sure, great. I thought I was going to be a recording artist and that I was going to do like background vocals and stuff like that and do concerts. Like I thought that was what my career was going to look like. So musical theater was such a big surprise to me. And then doing something that's as musical theater-y as Legally Blonde, I was like, I don't know how to do
that's
this.
That's as empty as you get, without a doubt. Did you look down upon it?
Yes.
I mean, did you look down on musical theater? Or it just was...
No, I didn't look down on it at all. It's just that I grew up in LA, and there's just not, the culture is different there. It's all film. The entertainment industry is not theater promoting at all. It is, concerts, like recording artists, film and television. So that's what I grew up thinking that I was going to be doing. And then when I got a musical, I was like, oh, a rock musical. Okay. Well, I love acting, but my acting was very, it was definitely more... It's definitely more like film and TV style and less presentational. So hopping from something like Rent, where I could get away with a little bit more of that. And I did go to college. So like in between
Clown college, you mean?
I went to actually I took clowning classes. Yes. Yes. Our graduation, instead of caps, we just got little fuzzy noses and spinning bow ties and squirting flowers. It was a messy graduation. No, I went to NYU and I studied experimental theater. Again, subdued, like not presentational.
Wow.
And then you book Legally Blonde, which is as presentational as you get.
Yes.
While also, but again,
and campy.
Again, we're going to have a separate fangirl podcast about Legally Blonde.
Oh my God,
it's so good.
What is at the heart of that show is that you get all the pink and all the fuzzy and all the kind of saccharine sweetness of it. But then there is this backbone of truth, and like that moment when I've directed the show before, and I always choke up when I do this scene, but the scene where he proposes at the end right before graduation, and she brings him up and is kind to him at that moment where she had every right to spit in his face is like it's giving me chill bumps right now. There's so many of those little moments throughout the show that like keep it going. Anyway, I don't want to fangirl too long, but we're gonna have a separate, totally separate
Might
podcast
as well.
about that.
We have nothing but time.
So did I look down on it? No, I did not look down on it. I was, at that moment, I was still building my appreciation and my knowledge of the catalog of musical theater in general. So it was like, I didn't grow up a musical theater kid.
Yeah.
So it was like I cut my teeth on Broadway, basically.
So you've done many shows. You've done Shrek with me. You did Violet. You did Kiki Boots. You and I met and fell in love doing Shrek. And also you met your husband. We did.
We did. And over ukuleles, I believe.
Oh, yes, over ukuleles. But you met your husband, Denny, who's currently in Chicago on Broadway.
Yes.
When we were doing Shrek. You also do voiceover work. You've worked for Pokemon and you've done a bunch of national commercials. But let's talk about kids. You have 3 kids. You and I met prior to you having any children that you fucking know of.
You know what I love too is when people meet me in the business, because it's like post-pandemic and everyone's like, where's everybody been? Like we've all been living under rocks and I'm still just emerging. They're like, how many kids do you have now?
And you have to count them to remember.
And I'm like, 5,000 children. I have 5,000. No, I have 3. I like to confuse people right off the bat.
You took that leap from 2 to 3, which I feel like is a really big decision to make.
The only decision we made in that was Denny agreeing to drink what is it, jalapeno margaritas with me at 3:00 in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, this is how straight people do it. We have to write a check for like $100,000. You guys just have
and
jalapeno
it's not
margaritas
right,
at
and
3
I'm
in the
so
morning.
sorry. So I saw a comedian talking about that. They were like, it is too easy to make a baby for some people, and yet here we go. A croissant takes 3 days to make. A croissant takes 3 days.
Yeah. Your kids all have a variety of special needs, which is partially why I wanted to talk to you about, like, other parents out there, gay parents, straight parents, will have kids with special needs. So talk to us about, like, what special needs your kids have and, like, when you discovered that. Because
how long is this podcast?
Well, we have about another 20 minutes left for your interview. So
Okay, long story short, and since this is comedic, I'll just keep it pretty light.
Yeah.
Hudson, my oldest, was diagnosed when he was 5.5 with autism spectrum disorder. So he's on the autism spectrum. In addition to that, and with many people with autism that are autistic, there are other diagnoses that accompany that, like OCD, usually like a general anxiety disorder. He also has, symptoms of ADHD as well. So we found that out when he was 5.5. We had him privately evaluated, which cost a fortune. And it was because he was having some issues in school that just didn't add up. So instead of figuring all that out, we had just had Caspian, my second, and we were already thinking about moving to New Jersey, about making the, breaking up with our boyfriend, New York City, and going to New Jersey for greener pastures. And so we did that. We kept Hudson out of kindergarten that year, and then we put him into first grade here and got him an IEP, which is an individualized education plan. Which is basically for any person that has any kind of access needs, whether it is physical, intellectual, learning, cognitive, whatever it may be. You can have access supports in your classroom, and it's just basically like a legal document saying my child gets this in their classroom or is in this specific type of classroom. So that helped me start on my journey of advocacy for him, and just learning about what our rights are as parents, which is, whether you have typical developing children or non-typical developing children, understanding some of your rights in the school system is super important and also very overwhelming at the same time. So it was a hard learning curve, but luckily we were paired up with some people that are professional advocates for a living, and they dedicate their lives to helping parents navigate the systems. And we ended up doing pretty good. And he's been in school at our local elementary school ever since and doing really well. He's in a general education classroom with supports and through his IEP. And, things are tough for kids on the spectrum, a lot of the time. And he definitely has challenges socially, especially. But other than that, he's just an awesome kid. And then we have Caspian, who is 5.5 now, typical developing, very loud, has only one level of volume. David, you've met him.
Can confirm. We had
a friend over the other day, and Caspian was like, "Hey, can you?" And she was like, "Hi!" And he was so taken aback, and I was like, "Yeah, that's how loud you are, dude."
Yeah, bro.
Very loud.
Tone it down.
Very
bro.
loud.
No.
And then we had Nova 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago. She's turning 4 this summer. And while we were pregnant, first of all, pregnancy was big surprise.
Mm-hmm.
And then
margaritas at 3 a.m.
Jalapeno margaritas, 3 a.m. Caspian was not even 2 yet, so I was not considering doing that, and then got pregnant and called my best friend and cried for an hour and a half. And then, we got her diagnosis while I was pregnant. So Nova has trisomy 21, which is also known as Down syndrome. She also had 2 measurable heart defects, 2 holes in her heart.
Yeah.
And we were navigating that and monitoring it during the pregnancy and during the growth. And then we were meeting with her cardiologist a couple weeks before she was going to be born, and he was scanning me for like 45 minutes and could not find the holes anymore, which there's no medical explanation for holes that large to suddenly disappear. So she's just my little miracle.
Yeah.
But also, I remember in utero, us talking about like, well, when she's born, she's going to have open heart surgery.
Yep.
And there was like, you were preparing for this common but huge surgery to happen on your infant daughter. And then I remember you being like, yeah, there's no holes anymore. And I was like, what are you fucking talking about?
I mean, our cardiologist was also my favorite doctor on our team. So I was like, oh, yay, she's healed. we don't get you anymore. It made me so sad because he was really cool.
You know, I can immediately hear such strength and such joy and pride from you about your children. And I would imagine that you've gone through, I'm sure you've been through a plenty of roller coasters, and an awful lot of people probably say, oh, I'm so sorry. And yet I bet you're like, fuck it. Like, what is normal in this world?
Nobody on this podcast. That's for damn
Nobody
sure.
on this podcast. And so I am curious, though, how have you, as an advocate, how do you coach other people to be like, listen, we are all miracles to even be here. Let's enjoy life while we're here. What's your secret?
Well, my secret is wine. And
That
A
tracks.
cheap bottle of
David
Kirkland
knows that. We
Rosé.
shared a frosé the other day.
Nice.
We went to this amazing restaurant. Was it
Yes.
Bloomfield? Was that?
Yeah.
was that- yeah.
Yeah.
And they had one of the specialty drinks was a frosé. And this is my entire thought process. I saw it and I went, ooh. And then I went, no, David, that's embarrassing to order. You can't order that. So I ordered like a whiskey drink. And then when it was like time for us to like order our second drink, I was like feeling a little braver. And I was like, I'll have the frosé. And Haven was like, I'll have the rosé too. And we had this like little naughty like, are we gonna do frosé?
We're doing
It was
frosé.
So fucking good. It was so
It was
good.
delicious.
My children were so little when frosés were, I don't know, invented. I feel like they came onto the scene,
Yeah.
5-6 years ago or so? And so I just kind of missed out. But from a distance, I thought, oh my God, that is fucking genius. I want a frosé. And now they're not cool. It's like, I want to wear Crocs, except Crocs are cool again, I guess. But I'm so after...
Not when you wear them, Gavin.
Not at all. Not at all. But I'm so after the fact, so I am proud to say, bring on the frosé.
Bring on the frosé.
Yes.
Bring it
Yep.
fucking on. And
I
put a
like
shot of vodka in there
frosé.
too, maybe. to
Throw
make
it in.
stronger, right?
Although it can be a little sweet. I'm going to be
Yeah.
honest, because in order to get that, like, I don't know, it can be a little sweet. Sometimes I'm like, just give me the
so
rosé.
citrus vodka in the frosé. How about
There you
that?
go. That's better. Give it a little. But to answer your question, how do I keep it positive? I mean, Denny and I are kind of like silver lining people anyway. Meow, meow, meow. Positive. And the thing is I think that, there's nothing special about me, right? As a parent, it's not like I was built to parent the children that I am. I mean, in some ways I believe that, or I believe like our children choose us, but it's not because I'm the perfect person to handle this. It was just what we were given. And what we did is we had an opportunity to really just see our kids for who they are and not for this list of disabilities that we'd been handed. And that's some of the things. I actually had a challenging doctor's appointment because Nova's having some possible fluid in her ear. So we might have to do, what are they called? Tubes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that the doctor was talking to me, she just continually said, well, we know that this is possible with Down syndrome. Well, with Down syndrome, this and this and that. And I was like, oh, does she have Down syndrome? I totally.
What if you just like gasped?
Wait, what are you
and were
fucking
like,
saying?
What?
What?
I thought she was just
and-
good at hugs. I didn't
I know. And I was like, I cried that night. And yes, I was starting my period. But also, I was like, I guess sometimes I just forget. I know Nova has Down syndrome. I know that there is going to be challenges. I know that there are some delays, especially when I see her like stacked up against some peers. But it almost doesn't fucking matter because she's just such a light. Like David, you've met her. Like she gives the best hugs. She's so sweet and she's very intuitive to the way that people are feeling. So I see all of Nova's really special gifts that she's been given instead of her just being like this disability, right? Mm-hmm. And so it just disappears after a while. Like you stop seeing the disabilities in your kids. It just disappears and you just
start
see them
seeing
for
the
them.
asshole.
You just start seeing the assholes
in
that
all
are
of them.
constantly making messes every time you turn
Ruining
around.
our lives, no matter who
Wait,
they are.
also,
what they
I
are.
have met every one of your children on their first day in the world. I've come to
Yes.
the hospital for every
Yes, you have.
one of them. And my favorite was when I came to meet Nova, and she was born, and I had been told her name was Jasper. And so I went and bought a
No, not
little
Jasper.
tree.
No, Juniper.
Juniper.
Why would I name my daughter Jasper?
Juniper, and this little juniper
hillbilly.
plant, and it was so cute. And we were like, oh, we're going to have this really cute plant, and it's a juniper plant, and we're going to walk in. And we walked in, and we're like, here's the juniper plant. And they're like, we renamed her Nova. And I was like, motherfucker. And I stormed out of the hospital.
You sure did. I also still have that juniper plant on my deck.
Wait, can I tell you also something that I learned in that day about parenting, which I think I think a lot of people struggle to understand, is so I came to the hospital, I met Nova, and then Nova was in the, not ICU, what was she in?
NICU, yeah.
NICU. She was in the NICU, and so Denny and I went together to go over there, because I don't know why, we were going over their feeder or something. And so I met her and whatever, and the nurse was like, oh, Denny, do you want to like change your diaper? And he was like, yeah, he's like, I don't really... can you like show me? I'm not. And my brain, I went, Danny, you have 2 fucking kids. How could you forget this? But now I realize, like, once a phase is over, you totally forget. Like when we started bottle feeding Hannah, we had already stopped bottle feeding Emmett. I was like, I don't know how bottles work. And I was, this was 8 months. Yep. This was 8 months ago. But and so that experience with Denny, I was like, oh, like when you're a parent and you've graduated to a new phase, your brain dumps that fucking information.
Oh, yeah.
It's a survival technique for sure.
You're also doing it in a moment of full mental trauma, sleep deprivation.
In front of an audience. People are
watching.
And
in front of an audience. Yeah, I was like, so you're not, like, of course you dump it because you weren't processing it to begin with the first 2 times.
You were surviving. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You were just surviving and you were sleepwalking the whole time.
Yeah. So, Haven, let's move on to like the Gatriarchs part of this, which is like, tell us, why are your kids fucking assholes?
Oh my God. Well, where do we start?
Yeah, where you just want to throw them out the window.
Where do I start? Well, have you ever seen those like old Mickey Mouse cartoons where they're fire? God, I can't even think about what a fire person is called.
Firefighter.
A fire person?
Like
fireman?
A firefighter?
You know those? And then the fire is a cartoon character too. And then it's like leaping from place to place and catching other things on fire, and they just can't get it with the hose. That's what my life is like. With my children, when my husband walks out of the door at 4:30 in the afternoon to go to work. They're all like, we've been keeping it together at school all day, and now it's time to rage. And it's like, I turn around, I'll get, somebody will be like, Mom, I need a sparkle water, because my kids are bougie as fuck. And they're like, I only drink sparkling water. And I'm like, well, then you're going to need to get a job. So I'm turning around to get like a sparkling water. And as I turn around, I hear like the cabinet door shut. And within a matter of like a split second, they've dumped an entire Costco-sized bag of like tortilla chips on the floor. The whole thing. And I'm like, and I'm trying to get my oldest to like come and help me out or like watch the kids, but he's not, because the TV's on and he's like watching Baby Einstein or something, totally washed out to the world around him. And that's one of the reasons that my kids are assholes. Also, you just can't. They're all negotiators. It's like, we're going to do this. But you said that you promised that I could do this. I don't promise you anything.
Yeah.
Literally, never have I ever promised my children something other than the fact that I would love them no matter what.
Also, you guys are outnumbered. Like like my brain knows that if we ever went from 2 to 3, we officially, like right now, 1 person per kid and we're covered. When the 3rd kid, there's always one ready to set fire to something.
It's zone defense. David, just stay away from the jalapeno margaritas. Just remember that next time.
Did you just say zone defense on the Gatriarchs podcast? How dare you? How actually dare you?
So there you are at home with a bunch of tortilla chips on the floor and nobody helping. How do you keep from just dissolving into tears at that moment? Is it wine, or do you just say, "Oh, okay, well, let's moving forward"?
No, you know what? I think that I'm trying to be. Okay, look. I'm trying to be more intentional with every moment that I have with my kid. And I mean, like, I'm really working on taking a step back, taking a deep breath, and saying, like, is this worth me getting really angry right now?
Are you able to say that in the moment? Because I want to believe
trying to practice it. I'm trying to, like, and it is working. And it's also like, is this really that big of a deal?
Right.
Do I really need to get upset? Or can I spin this? Because they're little, right? So it's usually my 2 little ones. It's my big one is the one that's injuring everyone all the time by accident. And and the little ones are just mischievous and curious. So it's like, are they doing this because they want to piss me off? Or are they doing this because they want a snack and they like the way the sound
Yeah,
They like the sound that
totally.
it made as it hit the floor.
And it's fun to make a mess.
It's fun to be dirty. It's fun to make a mess, right? And I'm always like, everything in its place or in its time. But, for this one, I'm like, oh, did you guys want a snack? Is that what this is? Can we pick this up? And then I something else happened and the cat knocks, I don't know, something. It's always a catastrophe at that moment. Everything happens in the same like 3 minutes. And so I was like, you know what? Fine. Eat chips off the floor. And I walked away.
Yes, you
listen,
did.
sometimes your kids have to eat chips off the floor. I feel like I'm hyper. My kryptonite as a parent is always like, what this will set a precedent for. Because I agree with you, like chips on the floor, like who fucking cares about chips on the floor?
Yeah.
My brain first goes to the place, well, if I allow them to eat chips on the floor, then they're always going to eat chips on the floor, and then I can't And I'm like, David, just relax. Just let them eat chips off the floor like a dog.
You're so right.
And also, children are not consistent.
No.
Yeah.
They did this once, and they were like, oh, that was fun. But then I make them tidy it up, and then guess what? We have to throw the chips away because they're on the floor and they're yucky. So then they're like, oh, no, if I do that, then we have to throw the bag of chips away, and then we don't have chips for lunch tomorrow. So done.
So if it's wrapping this kind of special needs, which it feels weird to harp on that, but I know you're uniquely qualified to, like, if a parent out there is listening right now, has a kid who's just recently diagnosed with special needs or in utero, has some sort of, like, what is your kind of top line general, like, advice for them? I know every need is different and everybody is different, but, like, what is your kind of general advice for somebody who just got that news?
It's interesting because, like, I think the term special needs is, like, thrown around a lot. And currently that phrase is really, like, exiting.
Oh, what's the new phrase?
So
I don't know.
But that's good advice.
Yeah. What is the verbiage?
And you wouldn't unless you're like really linked in, right? And it's something that still the word special is so common in so many other facets of like special education, and this is like from a government standpoint, it's like special education department, special ed classes, all of those things. But there's nothing special about my children's needs. You know what I mean? Each child is special, but there's nothing special about their needs. They have a disability. They need extra things, right? So how do I see my kids? I just treat them the way that I would treat other children, and each person, each one of us, right? The great thing about raising kids that have disabilities right now is that we're looking kind of all at each other as though we all have a disability in some way, right? Like the whole conversation and the language that we're using with people of like really understanding who people are as learners. Oh, a lot of people are seeing all these diagnoses come out and they're like, huh, that sounds like me as a kid. And maybe they were undiagnosed because we're having conversations about it now. It's like topical, and people are becoming more educated about just all of our differences and the way that we operate.
Yeah.
So that's how I think that's the best approach to looking at your kids is, fighting tooth and nail for the things that they need, not being afraid to stand up or make a,
scene.
Yeah. Not worrying about causing a scene if you need to, if you're getting too much pushback.
Yeah.
And also just, there are lots of resources to learn about this and lots of people. It's just that that can be very overwhelming at the beginning. But don't be afraid to like just Google search, how do I advocate for my child with special needs, in my area? And you'll come up with a bunch of resources. It's just about starting the process.
I want to go back to one thing real quickly that you had started you said at the beginning, which is that I learned to advocate and now I am an advocate. Can you actually really quickly dispel what does that mean? Does
that
mean
word is such catnip for Gavin? Advocate. Oh my god, such catnip. As soon as you said it, I was like, oh man, here we go.
I almost said, pardon me for an absolutely suitable for work moment of sincerity, but like, what does it mean that you call yourself an advocate? What does that mean? Does that mean you're out on the streets with signs every single day, or does it just mean
Every
you're
day.
attuned to, or
In costume, though, too.
No.
what does it mean that you are an advocate?
I think it's defined differently for every single person. As an advocate for my children, I am their representation in every legal meeting that I have regarding their education and services that they receive through the government. So That's the real like black and white cut and dry thing. If I need additional resources or I need somebody else from a legal standpoint, I have other advocates that have like law degrees that can come and help me with things. We have not had to deal with any of that. So advocacy from a professional term is usually that social workers that dedicate their lives to helping parents navigate the systems. As a parent advocate, I advocate for my own children, and I also put myself out there on social media and in my community to help other parents navigate the beginning of the process, or people know that I'm a safe place for them to come to talk about, hey, you know, I know that you go through this with your children. You know, my kid is starting to have this stuff that's going on in school. What do I do? If, you know, I've called and I can kind of say everything has to be in writing. You know, let me send you some templates for some letters, because you have to ask for things in a formal way. Otherwise, the systems that are built they're built so that you get lost.
Oh, Jesus, that's so frustrating. But then, are you part of an official organization or anything, or literally people can just reach out on social media and say, hey, can you help me with this? That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's really what it is. I'm not a social worker, so I don't work in any official capacity, but as an advocate for my children and other people in the community. But like, I'm not an advocate for adults, right? Like, advocacy looks different with adulthood, especially in like the autistic community. Like, people are gonna a lot of the times advocate for themselves or have their own advocates. So, you know, the community doesn't need me as an advocate. I'm an ally versus an advocate. I advocate for my children and for my family and help other families in my community navigate that. But for adults, you know, I'm an ally for those communities that already have those systems in place.
You're also an advocate for floor chips. So that's
I'm
really important.
an advocate for floor chips and frosé.
So we're almost out of time, but the last thing, and I know I ask you this all the time, and I know you've told this story 100 times, but I think it's important to constantly keep this story in the zeitgeist. And I need you to tell the story of when we were doing Shrek the Musical on Broadway. She's rolling her eyes because she's told the story 1,000 times, but it is so good. So let me set the scene, and then you can tell us. Let me set the scene. So if you know, you don't even need to know the show. There is a scene in the show right before Freak Flag where there is people, it's a lot of fairy tale creatures, and it's one of those scenes where it's like line, different person line, different person line. It's just back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And it comes to the point where Haven normally says her line, and it's just silence. I'll let you pick up the story there.
I was on stage. I don't know, how many performances in were we? Like, how many months into the run were we?
Yeah,
yeah. Like we were pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now I don't ever like to go to autopilot as a performer, but
Saturday
that
matinees,
day
y'all.
I was just it was Saturday matinee or maybe even a Sunday matinee, and I was a little spacey, and I was thinking to myself, do I know all of the lyrics to Total Eclipse of the Heart? And I started because I was like, I mean, we've sung this song how many times at like karaoke or on the radio, and I was like, I don't even think I know the words. And so I was like, once upon a time I was falling in love. Now I'm only falling in. Why is Brian Darcy James looking at me? And I was like, like I had that moment of, I'm missing my line, and then I was like, maybe you could talking to him.
Yeah. And what is so brilliant about it is that from the other actor's point of view, it was like da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. And then it was silence, and then everyone kind of, we all know whose line it is. Like, we all look over at Haven, who is just gone. She's somewhere else. And then when she comes to, and we ask her
some
backstage,
might call me vapid.
Yeah, we were like, what happened? And she was like, I was trying to remember the lyrics to Total Eclipse of the Heart. I have never connected with a human being more in my entire life, because that happens. You don't go on autopilot on Broadway, but there are times where your brain is like, I need to kind of work this out while I'm on stage.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know about you, but like that happens to me quite a bit. But the good part is that I wasn't singing it out loud that time, because that would also have been possible.
Yeah.
If your line had just come out as once upon a time I was
falling in love. No, I'm only falling apart.
Haven, I am obsessed with you. We have to end our interview, but thank you so much for joining us on Gatriarchs and filling us in on your life, and we love you so much.
I love you so much.
Okay, so something great this week has been a really amazing tradition that my partner has started for the family. And I think he started it last summer when I happened to not be around. I don't know. It was something that he just came up with on his own, which is just going back through pictures in his phone and beaming them to the TV and retracing all of these family pictures from since forever, because what is the point of these 20 million pictures we all have walk around with on our phones? And my kids live for it. Even my TikTok obsessed daughter would rather look through funny videos and funny pictures. And it's been a really great way to, go flip through photo albums. And we do it for maybe 20 minutes. I don't know, every couple of nights, maybe once a week, sometimes not at all. But it has been a really great way to bond as a family, to bring everybody together, and to revisit really fantastic memories. So it never would have occurred to me that, just sit here and beam your phone to your TV, but do it and look through the old pictures.
That's sweet. Yeah, my kids are obsessed with, we have a 1-year baby book, their first year that we printed. Everything else is just going to be digital. They love us going through. Here's us at the hospital. Here's, yeah. So this week I went to the grocery store with my husband and my 2 kids. And, we do the grocery store thing. We come back out and we're loading our groceries back into the car. And we're starting the process of putting the kids in. And there's this woman getting out of her car, and my first thought was Trumper, because she's got this huge SUV. She's a beefy gal. There's an energy there that I worry. And so she comes out and she sees Hannah, my daughter, who's 1, and she's like, "Oh, hi." And they're having a little conversation. And so we're all kind of having this pleasant parking lot talk. And in the back of my mind, I'm just blah, blah, blah. And at some point, we're about to go. And she goes, "Okay, I'll see you later. Have a good day." And then she goes, "Be good for your daddies. Bye." And it hit me so hard because it was so meaningful, because I know what she was doing. She was saying, "I know your 2 dads. I'm going to purposely make it so casual, but I'm going to say it out loud so you know that I know and that you're in a safe space."
Yeah.
And it is so meaningful when strangers do that. And when they make it a deliberate attempt to say, "I see that you're a gay family, and I'm going to say it, and then I'm going to go into the grocery store and buy my tortilla chips," or whatever. So my something great is, thank you, parking lot woman.
Love you, parking lot
seen
woman.
and heard and lovely.
And that's our show. If you have any comments, suggestions, or general compliments, you can email us at gaytriarchspodcast@gmail.com.
Or you can DM us on Instagram. We are at Gaytriarchs Podcast. On the internet, David is at David FM Vaughn everywhere, and Gavin is at Gavin Lodge in his dreams.
Please leave us a glowing 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks, and we'll see you next time on another episode of Gaytriarchs.
So my 11-year-old now, when he was little, he takes the biggest shits to the point where we used to have to cut them into pieces in order for them to be flushed. And I'm not even kidding. And wait. When we had babysitters, I would have to say, okay, if he takes a deuce, then you're going to have to take a butter knife and you are going to have to wrap it in a plastic bag. And you are going to have to cut his shit into pieces so that it will flush, because I can't even count how many times our toilets were broken. When we moved into this new house and we added a bathroom, I was like, we need a toilet that can flush a tennis ball.
That has a garbage disposal attached.
That's what we need. We would take pictures of them and send them to each other, because you wouldn't believe it that it was coming out of this teeny tiny little kid's body.
Yeah.
It's like an arm.
Yeah.
It was nuts.
I have never imagined this story ever.
We had
that's
to
unbelievable.
cut up his shit because it was so massive.